Hey there, good morning, happy Wednesday to you, and a Merry Christmas to you as well. Hey, it is the last Wednesday of 2024, the final wild card Wednesday of the year, and a beautiful Merry Christmas. It is December 25th, 2024, and so I thought, why don't we end off the year right? Instead of looking back at 2024, let's look ahead at 2025. Today, I'm going to do a topic I've really been thinking a lot about, and that is, what is 2025 going to bring? And so I'm going to talk to you about some bold predictions, completely subjective, completely unfounded predictions that I am calling right now for Lego here in 2025. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I do want to say first, though, thank you so much for tuning in. I don't know how many people are going to be tuning in on Christmas. And full disclosure, I'm actually recording this a few days early because, I'm celebrating Christmas, actually, I'm sure, with my family as this is coming. But I did want to put one out. I just thought it would be kind of fun. So maybe you're not celebrating Christmas, or maybe you're doing something else, or maybe you're on the road and you need something to listen to on the radio or your favorite podcast platform. So I wanted to put one out there for you. And so thank you. If you are in fact tuning in and listening to me, I just really appreciate it. And as always, you can find me on YouTube as well if you are a visual person and you'd rather see my mug and my Lego sets here together talking about Lego. So again, thank you so much. I do want to say, I really hope that your holiday is going well. I do hope you are getting some time. I hope you're getting a chance to celebrate, maybe with a loved one or some family that you love, and just that your season is holly and bright. And if it's not, maybe this podcast can do something to cheer you up. I will do my best, I promise. But my love goes out to all of y'all. So anyway, let's get into it. Bold predictions. That's what I'm calling this. Bold predictions of 2025. I am going to come at you with 3 giant predictions. Okay, I'm going to start with the smallest and work my way up. And again, I have no basis for any of these things. This is just me noticing and thinking, and maybe part of me hoping and dreaming, and then kind of just going from there. So let's get into it. Let's just talk about Lego. Lego is, and has been now for a few years, the largest toy company in the world. In fact, the top 4 toy companies, and it's pretty much number 5 and beyond is non-existent. So Lego, in terms of revenue annually, is little over $9 billion is what they bring in annual revenue. In second is Bandai Namco, like Dragon Ball Z, Pac-Man, Gundam, all those video games, anime, things like that. They are in second at $7.5 billion. Hasbro, which used to put out Creo before they stopped all that, but Hasbro, He-Man, Transformers, they are $5.8 billion in revenue. And then finally, Mattel, which puts out the Mega Bloks, which we have talked about before. They are at 5.4. And so some of these predictions kind of revolve around these companies. And so that's why I kind of preface all of this. And so for Lego, they have 3-year plans, right? They have 5-year plans. They have partnerships that they're looking at that they already know and that none of us know, and we just basically are speculating on. And so my first prediction for 2025 is not a partnership, but actually what they are going to do with sets moving forward. And my big prediction is that they are going to go smaller and in higher quantities. I don't know if you've been looking at Lego, but post-COVID, right, around 2020, they started a trend, and that was bigger sets, right? 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 pieces. And they just got bigger and bigger and as you went. And then now we are on a bit of a decline. So to give you some statistics, right? Going back to 2019, there were 840 sets released, according to brickset.com. Only 2 of them had more than 4,000 pieces. In 2020, 856 sets. 2 sets had over 5,000 pieces, and then there was one 9,000 piece set, the Titanic, right? 2021, upping it to 946 sets released that year. 7 sets were over 4,000 pieces. 5 of those sets were over 5,000 pieces, 3 sets over 6,000, 2 of them over 9,000, and then 1 set, the biggest set ever, technically by piece count, over 11,000 pieces, the world map. And that was like a banner year for big sets. It was like, how big can they go? Moving forward, 2022, Lego put out 974 sets. That's a lot of sets, y'all. And while it wasn't as big a sets as the previous year, they still had 7 sets over 4,000 pieces. 4 of them were over 5,000, 2 of them were over 6,000. They still had one 10,000 piece set in the, I think it was the Eiffel Tower was that year. Now we go to 2023. Down on the number, 927 sets. Still 7 sets that were over 4,000 pieces, and 4 of those were over 5,000, and then 2 of them over 6,000. Let's get to this year. What did they do in 2024? Well, they put out 922 sets in 2024. Nothing to sneeze at. And 4 sets were over 4,000 pieces. And there was only 1 set over 5,000 pieces. That was Barad-dûr for Lord of the Rings. An incredible set. But I don't know if you hear me when you're listening to this, if you're tracking it, it's done this bell curve, right? It has gone up and it has gone down. Here in 2025, looking forward so far, we have 263 both confirmed and unconfirmed sets according to brickset.com. There is not a single set so far that is over 4,000 pieces. Now that will change, but honestly, I don't know how much it will change by. I mean, this prediction is really, I think Lego has been experimenting with big sets and kind of seeing how big can they go. And more importantly for them, how much can they charge? And like I said, I've talked about this in previous podcasts, but in 2022, they had a major price hike. And so all of that kind of correlated together. And since that price hike, they've actually released slightly less sets and smaller sets as well. And so I just find it interesting. And I think my first prediction, like I say, they are going to continue to go smaller and put out more quantity. I think there's going to be more sets that are going to be released. I think there's more sets that are going to get retired. I think there's going to be a higher turnover. And I think this is that first year, 2025, they're going to go over 1,000 sets. That's a lot of sets. I don't think they're going to go over by much, but, and when I say over 1,000 sets, I'm not telling you they're going to release 1,000 quality sets. In fact, many could argue that 3/4 of the sets they put out are going to be, laissez-faire, right? They're going to be average sets at best. They're not going to be a whole lot of sets that kind of blow our mind for AFOLs. But I'm not Lego's only, target audience, right? We've got their Duplo. I mean, that's in that count. You're talking 3-year-olds that are doing Lego. And so I think for Lego to continue to meet a diverse audience, and an audience that seems to, I don't know if this is just me talking or just society in general, but has not as big of attention span, if you will, I kind of think they're cutting back. And I think they're going to continue to keep charging the prices that they're charging, but they're going to be doing it with less pieces. And so I don't know. You can take this for what it will, but I think my first prediction is not necessarily a positive one, but that is just the direction that I see Lego going in. Is it going to be more sets, smaller sets for what you're paying right now for the larger sets? Biggest set this year, 5,000, 6,000 pieces. I don't see them putting out, I can't think of a set, your Star Wars, we're not due for another Millennium Falcon yet. Stuff like that where you're like a 10,000 piece set. I don't see it happening. Obviously, I could be wrong, But, I think it's a safe bet we're going to get 3 or 4 or 5 maybe sets that are going to be over 4,000 pieces again, but not much beyond that. So anyway, that is my first bold prediction, and it is the least crazy, right? Prediction number 2, a much bigger prediction, and what I've been thinking about for a while now. My prediction is Star Trek is going to be made in Lego. That's right. I'm telling you right now, in 2025, the Star Trek IP is going to be done in Lego. It's happening. I think this is the year. And it's funny, I've really been thinking about this question for a while. In fact, I bought the Horizon West set, the long neck, and I'm doing a mod build into Star Trek Enterprise, and I've got all the stickers for it and everything. Like, I'm a big Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek, and I have been thinking about Lego in Star Trek, or Star Trek in Lego form for quite some time now. And as I've been working on this modded set, I've been like, oh, you know what? I mean, we haven't seen Star Trek out for a while because it was in Creo, it was in Mega Bloks. And then when I was building the Dune Ornithopter, I'm like, maybe this is the year. Like, I never thought in a million years we would get a Dune Ornithopter. Like, we've got sci-fi. If you want sci-fi in Lego, we got it. It's right behind me if you're tuning in on YouTube. Star Wars. Star Wars is the bread and butter, right? But if you think about it, Star Wars has been going on for 25 years now. Lego is due for something new and updated and something that can expand its fan base. And so to see something like Dune, you're like, oh, there's a little one-off in there, but it's very popular, right? Star Trek is very popular too, y'all. Star Trek is full of a bunch of Trekkies, a bunch of nerds. And you know what nerds also love? They love building Lego because it's awesome. And here's the deal. If you don't know Star Trek in building block form, let me educate you. Mega Bloks started way back in 2004, right? Mega Bloks is a Canadian-owned company back in 2004, and they did a partnership with Star Trek, and they released an Enterprise building block system. Mega Bloks aren't that great. Their grip strength is not that great, but it is what it is. And in fact, 10 years ago, Mega Bloks was bought up by Mattel to increase their footprint in the building block industry now that all the patents ran out on Lego. Okay? So then you're thinking to yourself, all right, Star Trek is always going to be a Mega Bloks thing. Then Star Trek moved over to Creo. And Creo, arguably, I would tell you that between building Mega Bloks and building Creo sets, Creo was much better. Just a higher quality brick, in my opinion. And then that company, I believe it's a Korean company, was bought up by Hasbro so that Hasbro could expand their footprint. And then Hasbro didn't do a very good job with it. And in fact, Creo kind of petered out. It went from these big, impressive, like Transformer sets and things like that, and then kind of petered out. And you could find them in like dollar stores, but they weren't very good. And I think they finished. I don't think they've sold Creo sets from Hasbro here in the last couple of years. But they had Star Wars too. And then most recently in 2022. There's a company called Blue Bricks. Now, if you're in America, you probably don't know much about Blue Bricks. Blue Bricks is a German company, and it is the European competitor to Lego, right? And they began a partnership with Star Trek in 2022. Well, in November of this year, their contract, their partnership has expired. And I'm sure Lego is looking at that. You're not partnering with Star Trek. It's a huge IP, and I'm sure Paramount is going to want to build that partnership. And it's funny, as I was saying earlier, I was thinking a lot about this, and as I started to research this more, I wasn't the only one. There was there was a BrickSet article on this too, and honest to God, I hand to a Bible. I had no idea about this brick set article until I was already in the middle of researching like the history of Star Trek and building bricks and what is the possibility to coming to Lego. So I'm clearly not the only one who thinks this. And 2025, it just seems ripe for it, right? And you could do so much. I mean, you look at Star Wars. There are so many ships out there in Star Wars that people love to build. It's no different than in Star Trek. It's not just Enterprises. You've got the Klingon bird of prey. That is amazing. You got the Romulan vessels. You have all sorts of alien vessels, and ships are perfect in Lego form. And I just think people would absolutely eat it up. So there you go. That is my number 2 big prediction for 2025 is that Star Trek is going to come to Lego. You heard it here first. Okay, moving on. My final prediction for 2025 is 2025 is going to be the year of the game where games rise and movies fall. Okay? Star Trek would be what I would still consider a movie IP, even though there are Star Trek games. But like Jurassic Park is a movie IP, even though there are games, versus Mario, which is a game, and even though there are movies. You get where I'm going with this? And I really think this is the year where you see a big expansion in the partnership of games and how they work with Lego. And that is actually why I brought up those previous companies, because Bandai, they own Gundam, they own Dragon Ball Z, all these amazing games. They own Pac-Man, but we have seen Pac-Man in Lego. And so that means Lego's already in talks with companies like Bandai. Hasbro, Transformers, right? You know, that's a movie IP thing that was moving together. But let's just get into the elephant in the room, and that's Nintendo. And the next one that is really ripe is Legend of Zelda. I don't know how the Great Deku Tree has done. I think it was a bit overpriced, but I think people really still loved it. And I think it's enough that Lego is going to want to do more Legend of Zelda sets. And there are a lot of sets that they can do. And it's not just Zelda. I really think Zelda is going to be a theme. But it's other Animal Crossing could be a great expansion. Fortnite, those sets are looking good. You know, it's stuff like that. I think that's what a large audience who is in the right age group to build Lego are going to want to build. And that's the beauty about games. You not only have Mario and Zelda, but you have bigger games like Fortnite for the teenage audience. So you're getting a wide range of people. And I have talked about this. I have said, is the future, in a previous podcast, is the future of Lego gaming? I think partly, yeah, and definitely in the near future. League of Legends, guys. I talked about Arcane. You imagine a League of Legends like in Lego form? How cool would that be? Final Fantasy, or even just one-offs. Like we have that, right? Like the long neck that I previously mentioned. That is from the Horizon game. That is a nice little one-off. It is a beautiful set. It'd be very easy to have a World of Warcraft set that's a one-off, or an Among Us set, right? You couldn't do much with Among Us. And yes, granted, something like that is losing some popularity, but it would still make a great one-off set. And I think Lego is going to explore a lot of that. Maybe pick and choose. Could they put out a Metroid set? Could they put out another Pac-Man set, or a Kirby set, or something from like Super Smash Bros. Buildable figures, or something like I say, expanding on Zelda where you get the castles and things like that. It just makes sense. But here's the thing. As you build that up, as the gaming IPs build up, something's got to give. And I really think what's going to give is a lot of the movie partnerships that they have. Like Jurassic Park, it's super popular, right? The movies were super popular, but they have waned in popularity. We're supposed to get an incredible T-Rex skeleton in line with the Jurassic Park set, but I could very well see 2025 as being the final year for a while where we see Jurassic Park sets. Would not be surprised at that at all. And Lego's done that before. We used to have these type of sets and they went away and they came back. It happens. Indiana Jones. How are there still Like, don't get me wrong. I like Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones. I grew up with it. And I love Indiana Jones in Lego form. But how in the world are those still profitable sets for Lego? Like, I just don't see us getting a lot more of those. Despicable Me 4, right? Again, I don't see a lot more Minions coming around the corner. I'm pretty sure that was the last movie we're probably going to see, or they might milk it for one more. And even Avatar, arguably going to be one of the biggest series, and you've got future movies in the works. You might get another one-off, but I just don't see a lot of Avatar sets. And I think those are the sets that are going to go away to make space for a lot of these gaming sets, because that's what kids are doing. That's what they're a part of. That's what they're spending their days with. They're spending it with Mario. They're spending it with League of Legends. They're spending it with Fortnite. They're not spending it with Avatar. They're not spending it with Indiana Jones. That's like the most out of touch thing I've ever heard, right? And that's coming from somebody who's old. So that is my third bold prediction. I think 2025 is going to be all about the games and Wayne in the movies. Yes, there's still going to be Star Wars. Yes, there's still going to be Harry Potter. Yes, I think there's still going to be Lord of the Rings, and I think Lord of the Rings is actually going to have a heck of a banner year. So you are going to have some staples in there. Marvel, DC, Spider-Man. Those things are not going to go away. Those are mainstays, right? They're just not going to go away. But I think they are going to cut down on the number of movie partnerships they have. It just makes sense because you got to think that those IPs cut into their profit margin, right? I mean, you make a lot more per set on a city set than you've got to on a Star Wars set. So you've got to be able to move more pieces to make the money. And so that's where I think that's going to be. So there you go. Just to recap, I think they're going to make smaller sets, and I think they're going to make more of them. I don't necessarily think each set is going to be a higher quality set, but I do finally think we're going to get over 1,000 this year. We'll definitely have some good ones, and I'm hoping some of the good ones we have are Star Trek sets, because I really think there's no contract holding them back. I really think Star Trek is coming. And then I also think, like I say, besides Star Trek, I can't think of another new movie IP that we could get, right? I think movies are going down, games are going up. And that's why I got Bowser here next to me. If you're tuning into YouTube, that's why he's hanging out, because, I mean, look at this set. Bowser, this is one of the greatest sets still I have ever built. And I have built hundreds of Lego sets. And it's incredible. And this is the kind of thing you can do with game sets. You just can't do this with a lot of other sets. Tell me a Lego City set that even holds a candle to this Bowser sitting next to me right now. Feel free, leave me a comment. I'm happy to argue with you about it positively. But anyway, those are my 3 predictions. Those are what I think 2025 has in store. So as we finish up 2024, like I say, I hope you are having an excellent finish to your year. I wish you the very best. I wish you happiness. I wish you health and good fortune. And until Friday, I will come back to you with one final review for the year. And then I'm actually going to take a little hiatus, going to take a little time off and a little time away from the podcast. And then I'll come back to you probably mid-January for 2025. But I just truly appreciate you. And thank you so much. And until Friday, hey, I'll catch you on the next one. How it's supposed to